Welcome to In the Hot Seat with the Tenney Group. I'm Spencer Tenney. It's good to be with you. What is a Section 363 sale in the bankruptcy code, and why should we be talking about it right now? With me to discuss this very special edition of the Hot Seat with Tenney Group's very own Vice President, Ashesh Pansuria. Ashesh, welcome to the Hot Seat.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
So for some context, we're going to kind of jump into this very specific topic. Give us a little background in terms of your 30-year career of just investing and M&A advisory and turnaround management. Like, just tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. Thank you, Spencer, again for having me. I've had a very diverse sort of background and very different traveled path through my career. Started out in sales and trading on Wall Street and made my way to turnaround and helping M&A firms kind of get out of a bind. All the while just thinking about really from a business owner's perspective. In fact, I've had some investments through my career and still own a few businesses right now myself in hospitality. So the middle market approach is always like near and dear at my heart, and I'm glad to be sharing this topic for everyone.
Well, me as well, and glad to have you on our team and actively closing deals as we speak. But we're seeing some characteristics in the companies that we represent and companies that we don't represent. This in a pinch right now, and so to help us just provide a little color around that and why this Section 333 sale topic is so relevant right now.
Yeah, and so I maybe back up a little bit. I think when you go through your business life, there are several ways that I think distress, if you will, could come up, and that's whether like a business is growing like too fast, your business model is changing, you perhaps on the financial side, you may have borrowed too much money. And the rates which you borrowed were significantly different than what they may be today. Other forms of distress are just operational. You may have partners that you may be on a different path now. There could be some other type of operational distress where people are just stealing from out from under you, and you just didn't catch it for a while, and that kind of puts you in a financial bind. But and it's not always bad. So if you're growing too fast, like for example, you just may need more capital. You may need more capital partners, et cetera. But in this day and age right now, in this last, like I would say ever since the Fed started, really increasing rates faster than we've ever seen, when you borrowed at one rate and suddenly the rates get reset, and sort of, in our industry, I think we've seen the asset values as far as power units and trailers, et cetera, like really coming down. So, you got a collateral base that's going down, but you got financing rates going up. And even though you made all the right decisions leading up to when you actually signed the documents, the current environment may lead to some really strained cash flow issues.
Yeah. And so I think from our standpoint, and for the whole, transportation logistics industry, like you'll see some headlines about, ABC company going, filing bankruptcy or shutting the doors or and it seems so sudden. Like how did this come on so strong? And I'm curious, based on your background, how does it get to that point where, a company like where they've done these things, the environment changes, but what are the things that the owner is experiencing to that point where they either close the doors or, they file bankruptcy and, one of the several options, like what are the things that they're seeing and experiencing during that period?
Yeah. And I think, it's human nature for our lots of, middle market business owners just to hang on for do everything they possibly can but then they run into a big wall. And the advice to people that may be listening today would be, there are folks out there that can help you. Um, Always try to do the right financial disciplines that you always do. You always look after your cash, and make sure you have a good cushion there. Collect your AR quickly. You make decisions on your bills and which ones you want to pay. You may want to do some uh, investigation on your actual staffing levels, but sometimes some you just don't go out for help, and you don't have, like, let's say, that 100-day plan. So sort of the wall comes, and then you don't have that many options. So start planning, start talking to people early, even if you're not exactly in distress, or if you don't think you're going to experience problem, maybe just having conversations with folks and what may be their options.
Yeah.
And I think the topic today was really about Section 363. And if you're thinking about a sale, one of those methods, and if you're thinking about going through a normal sale process, uh, that's fine. But there are parts of a business where you may need to get the protections of the court. And one of the section, if you do have a plan to sell, sometimes you don't know if you want to even sell, but you may want to file a Chapter 11 reorganization. And when people do that, there are really three things that they are considering as a solution when you get to that point. One is an obvious one. It's file a Chapter 11 and liquidate and close your business. That's obviously not optimal. That's not what anyone wants to ever do, but it is an option. Uh, Two is to reorganize. Now, when you reorganize, I think the U.S., and we're lucky enough to, besides living in the United States and all the privileges we get in this country, I think the bankruptcy codes are very debtor friendly, or owner friendly. And so one of the ways to go through a bankruptcy is to reorganize. So what do I mean by that? You may want to reorganize your finances. You may reorganize your operations, etc. So, but the third way, and the most common, what's happening these days is, I would say that you may want to just sell the company at that point. And Section 363 really allows you to do that. And I can go into more details about it, but also I do want the audience to realize, like, please seek counsel first and foremost. We're under full disclosure. We're not giving any advice or legal advice here, but getting the right team in place before you take any action is advisable. So seeking legal counsel, seeking financial advisors, they may be able to help you. That's the key to starting that process.
Yeah, and I think that, just to kind of, in case people are, have limited time as they're watching this, I think the spirit of our conversation today is number one, what we've discovered from advising companies for a very, very long time is they almost always have more options than they realize when they're in that pinch. It's just about creating awareness of what that is. So let's just back up for a second. So, like, I really want to kind of create this distinction between either, I just try to, a lot of folks, they get in a pinch and they have a buddy in the industry and they kind of sell off basically at liquidation value the equipment, just to kind of have the softest landing that they think is available, and then they're done. That's not what Section 363 is. So help understand what would be the benefits to the owner of using the within the bankruptcy code, this Section 363 option, versus just directly trying to negotiate some type of asset sale liquidation value.
Right. I think that's a very very good question. So you in that section of the code, it's really, you can maximize this. The owner really can maximize the value of the assets being sold. You basically enter into soliciting bids, and it's a competitive bidding environment. Usually that could achieve a higher sale price than any potential other methods than a liquidation. Um, and then, on the other side of it, you may have some debt on the other side. So, it also benefits the creditors by maximizing the recovery of their funds. Um, the other thing that's very beneficial is the speed and efficiency. It can be completed relatively quickly compared to, I would say, maybe a traditional sale process. The bid procedures and the timeline is very structured, and you can really expedite the sale, and it'll lead to more of a efficient process. Um, so the other aspect of that would be that you could really preserve the going concern value through this sale. You could also you have flexibility of what assets are sort of sold. If there are some assets that just don't want to be a part of the sale, you can leave those behind. Um, there are ability to sort of have a buyer can purchase the assets, free and clear of most liabilities. There'll be perhaps there'll be certain exemptions for that. Um, and then thirdly, I think there's really certainty because with court oversight, the court's going to have to sort of have the oversight, ensure that the process is fair, transparent, in the best interest of everybody involved. But they will also grant permission to do that, and that stamp of approval is nothing. It is certainty. So certainty of close.
So in terms of what, I mean, this is not something that business owners seek out, but one of the objectives of trying to navigate these difficult times is to make sure that whatever the next chapter is going to be, that they have the firmest footing possible, whatever they can do to transition to the next thing. So maybe you can speak to what are some of the post transaction benefits when someone goes through this process. um, what does it look like from a credit standpoint? What does it look like in their ability to continue to do business following this type of transaction?
Well, yeah, and if you step into sort of the buyer's shoes, they'll be, perhaps getting opportunities that may not have been in a normal transaction. They might find some bargain opportunities. The prices may be a bit discounted. Um, uh, and then buyers that they may be interested in purchasing the assets. And having a going concern value, which is, in our world, that's always the case, and you want the best for your employees and the rest of the community that you serve. So you get, you'll purchase those things without disruption. You'll get the same customer base, uh, any IP rights, all that stuff comes over. Um, and then, of course, if you're seeking like optimization or risk mitigation, those things come along as well. Asset optimization may be that you may unlock value in assets that, let's say, if you're a strategic buyer, then you may have a need of a certain type of truck or trailer, and the asset pool that you're seeking to buy is really fitting that mold. Instead of going to an auction and buying assets that may not be available, you may be able to get your hands on that very quickly. So there's lots of good aspects for a buyer to consider this path too.
So what advice would you give to business owners as they are, and what encouragement would you give them? Let me ask it that way. What encouragement would you give to business owners who are looking at their 90 to 120 day cash flow situation, and they have deep concerns about the path that they're currently on? What would be your word of encouragement to them?
Yeah, and I think that um, I would say that what the United States has is that it has a very friendly system for business owners when it comes to this topic. Um, take your time, seek good advice, seek good advisors, both legal and otherwise, and financial. Understand where your operating cash is. That's the lifeblood of anyone's business. Um, Make sure that you always keep the faith. I think at the Tenney Group and most of our clients that we serve, we're really deep rooted in faith. But keep the faith because I've heard plenty of stories where you know someone is backs against the wall, they can't make payroll on a Friday, and then they had to do an emergency filing, but 3 years later the company's selling for 20 or $30 million. So never lose faith, but seek the right advice.
Mm-hmm.
Seek and plan early. Do not go all the way to that Friday.
Right.
If you sense you can do a cash flow analysis for yourself, that's the first thing a professional will help you with, by the way, is cash flow
Mm-hmm.
analysis. But do it yourself. You can go out a few months and see what if the tide is going to change. You can see it. If the tide's not going to change, just plan early, seek advice, and engage professionals, and never lose hope.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Well, I got one last question for you, Ashesh. I can't even believe I didn't vet this more effectively when I hired you at Tenney Group, but somehow we let a Philadelphia Eagles fan in this organization, uh,
That,
and
that's
and I
right.
have much respect. They are looking pretty good, I'm as a Cowboy fan, I'm not excited about this draft that they just had and the year they're coming off. Not excited about that at all. But
Yes.
who is your number one, your guy on that team?
Yeah, I mean that's an easy one, Spencer. And I purposely, when I heard that you knew about Dallas, I did not allude to that during the whole vetting process. So I'm glad I didn't because I don't know if I'd be here. But no, I think Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts would be the guy that's leading the organization down there. I love what he stands for, his work ethic, his leadership skill, quiet leadership skills show through action. Many of us are really lucky in our careers and what we've done, and to be modest and humble like Jalen is, I think that's really a good role model that we all can use. So I'm hoping that they certainly paid him well, and I think we'll have a good run here. So
Yes, they
thank you.
did. And well said. I really appreciate you just sharing your knowledge about this particular topic. For those of you that want to inquire about this, or if you have clients, business owners you support that you think need to know about this, just please let us know. We'd love to be a resource to you. That's going to do it for us in the hot seat. We'll see you next time.